All right, welcome everyone to another edition of the Bluefield College Coaches Show. And now we have a women's soccer player for the first ever time here on the Bluefield College Coaches Show, senior Megan Brandl. Round of applause, everybody. Apologize for the technical difficulties earlier, but that's just making sure that this show goes off the hitch for you, Megan. First of all, thank you for coming. It's awesome that
I've been playing since I was 4, so it's all about teamwork and having people around you to build you up. Here, coming in as a freshman, I was absolutely terrified, especially the upperclassmen, and just having them, kind of encourage me. That was a big thing that helped out.
Do you find yourself encouraging a lot of the underclassmen now that you're a senior?
I would like to think. I hope so. I always, some of the girls after games, they have their heads down, and I just, it is tough transitioning from high school to college. So I always, make sure I tell them, it's okay. You're going to grow. You have 3 years left after this year. You'll get there.
What were some of the things that you struggled with transitioning from high school to college?
The intensity of the game is definitely different. Especially my high school team wasn't the best, but coming from, my club team was good, and I had that background kind of, but definitely coming from high school to college soccer, it was a huge jump. Just the intensity and the level of play, and a lot of the girls are way more physical, and, just the different aspect of playing.
Well, I think that women's soccer at Bluefield College, you guys have gone through a lot of adversity, so let's kind of focus on some of the things that you might have had to gone through that a lot of other soccer players don't. You've had 3 different coaches, right?
Yeah.
What were some of the obvious challenges that jumped out at you after going through 3 coaches?
The different way, every coach has a different way of playing and coaching, and just the different practices. Not luckily for me, but I really didn't. I myself have only really played under 2 coaches because I wasn't able to play my sophomore year. So I played under Coach Price, and then now Coach Michael. And just the different ways of coaching has definitely been a challenge, and the different formations on the field and stuff like that. So
Coach Price recruited you.
Mm-hmm.
What were the first impressions you had of Bluefield College when you got here?
When I came for my recruitment trip, the campus, the surrounding area, I thought was absolutely gorgeous. I came after it snowed, so there was snow everywhere, but the team was very welcoming, and I came from a really big high school, so I wanted the smaller school to come to, and Bluefield definitely had, they had soccer, then the home feel, and then obviously it's a small school, so
right.
I had that.
That didn't scare you at all going from, how big was your actual high school though?
My graduating class was about 500.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah, so
how
big
many?
high
There's
school.
a little over 1,000 at Bluefield, right? Somebody's got to correct me on that. Okay.
Yeah.
So 500. Where are you? You're from North Carolina.
Charlotte, yeah.
Charlotte. Wow. So you go from a city to Bluefield.
Yeah.
I know that it's still the South, and this is Appalachia still, but were there ever any moments of, maybe culture shock when you got to Bluefield?
Everyone's so nice here. I can walk into Walmart and, people will smile, people hold the door open for you wherever you go. And then, obviously driving, there's not really a lot of traffic.
No.
And then when I go home, I have people just, don't really talk, aren't really friendly, and then traffic's awful.
Okay.
So.
Well, a couple of good things. The culture shock, usually people say bad things, but you
Yeah.
noted
No,
good things.
Yeah.
No, that's
things.
awesome. So, we're moving up on your graduation. Are you graduating in the winter or the spring?
Spring.
Okay, so the spring. So you got a whole nother semester. And what exactly, you said you're a graphic design major?
Graphic communications.
Graphic communication. So can you just kind of tell us what that entails?
So for me personally, I really want to be on a marketing team and create advertisements or work on companies' web pages. Stuff like that. I also love photography, so I would like to do something with that as well. So yeah, it's just the major has a bunch of different opportunities in it, and yeah, I'm excited to be
And
able to
you
graduate.
interned with WVVA. What were some of the things you learned working in news?
So for WVVA, when I applied, I really wanted to work in the promotions, like intern for them, but unfortunately they didn't do internships in that area. So I worked with Paul Hess. He was the content manager, and he basically wrote up stories and posted, made sure the website like kept going, would keep up with all the social media, stuff like that. So I was able to kind of work in that part of my major as well, like the communication, like really talking and speaking with the community and stuff like that.
And even after you did that internship, it didn't deter you from wanting to do that?
No.
Well, that's great.
No, yeah.
A lot of times that happens. You actually get your feet wet and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this at all.
Yeah.
All right, so you got a game on Wednesday against Milligan College, or is it Montreat? It's
Montreat, yeah.
Montreat. Milligan's our volleyball game tomorrow, which I hope you all can come tomorrow at 6:30 at the Dome. But what are some things you need to do to get the win, other than score more goals than the Cavaliers, of course, on Wednesday?
I think we just need to come to the game prepared, ready to play, come wanting to play, and yeah, just like it's one of our last games, so I hope that we all bring it all on the field. And
now, are there any personal goals for you in these next two games?
I really want to score a goal.
Have you done that before?
I scored a goal my freshman year.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's been a while.
Kind of a break. Well, we're rooting for you to do that,
Yeah.
Megan. Wrapping it up here, we're doing our quick question segment with senior Megan Brandl of the women's soccer team. These are quick one-hitter questions. Okay, so Megan Brandl, who is the teammate that you could survive on a desert island with?
Taylor Bryant.
Why's that?
She's like my best friend. We've been friends since freshman year, so.
And she's a senior too.
Yeah.
If you could live anywhere, where would you want to go?
London. I've been there. I traveled there over the summer one year, and I absolutely loved it.
Favorite soccer player of all time?
Megan Rapinoe.
What is your favorite dessert?
Creme brulee.
What is your favorite Bluefield College soccer moment of your career?
I don't even know this for senior night.
Spoiler, I guess we're going to know on Saturday.
Yeah,
as well.
I don't know. I have so many, I haven't picked one.
Well, you got a couple of days to think of
yeah.
one. And finally, what is your favorite thing about Bluefield College?
Just everyone I've met, the people here. I would have never met them if I hadn't come here, and I'm really glad that they're in my life now.
Well put, Megan. Megan Brandl, everybody, women's soccer. Thanks for coming out, man. Scoot on a little bit. All right, Logan, thanks for coming. I know you had to leave a class early. Which class was that?
Criminology.
Is that a class you really like?
I mean, is there too many classes you really like?
Right, no, I understand. Well, we're glad you can make it out here anyway. So it's your senior season. You have shifted from linebacker for your first couple years of being here. And I asked you this at the beginning of the year, but as the season has gone on, how has that transition from linebacker to defensive end gone for you?
It's definitely been a big change, simply because, at linebacker, you got 4 or 5 yards before you got to mess with the big guys. And,
right.
You can duck and dodge them. You don't have to touch them half the time. Now, every play, I'm hitting somebody that's almost, 30, 40 pounds bigger than me.
Yeah.
So it's been a big change. But, at the end of last season, I had to make that change for us since we were missing a lot of D linemen due to injuries. So, and I put on about 10, 15 more pounds, too. So that helped as well.
Now, you got a couple more games left in your senior season. What more do you want out of yourself for these next couple of games?
Honestly, I've been working at it, and I'm trying to get a sack this season. That's been, my biggest struggle is just getting a sack. Or every time I get there, it's like he throws the ball right, and he, knows I'm coming, and he just throws the ball, even if he doesn't see me.
You're going to sneak in there at least one more time.
Got to.
So you had a bye week, no football for the first time in seemingly a long time. What did you get to do?
I got to go home and see my family, which I see them every gone but I haven't actually gone home and, spend time with them just because football has been so busy. And actually since July 20, like 7th or 8th when we actually reported. So it's been about 3 or 4 months since I've seen them.
And your family's in Fredericksburg, Virginia, right?
Yep.
So what was your football upbringing like before you got to Bluefield College? Was your family really into it?
Yeah, my dad, both my parents are like pretty good athletes coming out of high school and everything. Neither of them went to college and played sports, so I was the first one in my family to play college sport. But my parents are very supportive of everything that I do and everything that, I'm willing to do. So, and growing up, they always put me in a sports camp. Like all summer long, that's their rule. You're not sitting at home, you're doing something.
What was the best camp you ever went to?
Probably UVA. I used to
Really?
go to quarterback camp.
You went to
Every year.
quarterback camp.
Yeah.
Even as did you ever get to play quarterback?
Yeah, I did in high school. My freshman and sophomore year of high school, I was actually a quarterback.
Was that devastating for you when you got to be an upperclassman? You're like, oh, you can't be a quarterback anymore.
No, I always played quarterback and linebacker, and I actually liked linebacker a lot more because, you don't have to be still the whole time until I say go or hut. So that was the best part about it. I could be able to move around freely. I mean, even if I jumped, I could still get back on side just in time.
So let's talk about that high school team. What high school did you go to in Fredericksburg?
I went to Riverbend High School.
Were you guys really good when you were there?
We were 500 all of the years I was on varsity. We had some really good guys. My senior year, we graduated with 30 guys. A couple of my boys, one of my boys plays at William & Mary. He graduated last year. And my other friend played at Naval Academy, and he graduated last year.
Oh, wow. Pretty stacked team.
Yeah.
So you get to Bluefield College. How? Well, you weren't recruited by Coach Lusk because you preceded him.
Yeah. I was recruited by Coach Walker. I had went to a prep school called Fort Union Military Academy right after high school for a semester, just to kind of, get bigger. So I was ready to play college football because coming out of high school, I wasn't really focused on lifting a lot. So I was very undersized for my height and everything. After I went to Fort Union, I actually saw Coach Bell because I was trying to get my transcripts so that I could, talk to a whole bunch of other schools. And under Coach Walker, Coach Bell was the defensive coordinator. And I actually just walked into him going into my high school trying to get a transcript. And I asked him, where he played because at first.
Parted ways. Was it hard to get or to prove yourself to a new coaching staff?
Definitely. I think it always is. The new it just depends on how they end up running their system. But he's always on us. Before, they weren't on us as hard as he was.
Something that we don't really get to talk about every week with having someone here is the fact that you guys are student athletes first. You're about to wrap up your senior year. How were you able to balance the football aspect of your life and then move into being a student as well?
I would say at first it was very difficult. Freshman year is probably is one of the hardest, just because it's an adjustment to you're being on this. Hey, you gotta do that. You gotta do chores, homework, all of that, and that was the biggest thing about getting my own homework now. Really biggest adjustment is just finding that balance of how many.
How have you been able to get onto the cheerleading squad, and what's that been like for you?
That's really fun. Actually, last year, and one of my friends from back home, her mom was a college cheerleader, and she was always telling me that do football and then do cheer big, and surprisingly, a lot of dudes, that guys I guess that are bigger usually do football from high school and stuff like that, and they want to throw the ball. He won't have enough time to make plays. I mean, our DBs are pretty solid. We are young back there now just because of, a couple injuries that have happened. We have guys filtering in that, might not know everything, but as long as we communicate and, talk on the backside, we'll help them up front.
And he's the Appalachian Division Player of the Week. This is a pretty good quarterback on a team that is still trying to find their third win of the season, Kentucky Christian, and it's a division game, so very important. Mm-hmm. Want to wrap it up with a quick questions with defensive end senior Logan Hinnant. And we've talked about this briefly. You like Star Wars. So what Star Wars character do you identify with the most?
I would say Luke Skywalker. Before.
Great answer.
I say that first win my freshman year when we played, I think it was Union. That was, I don't know, something was in the atmosphere that night, and I knew, not Union, Cincinnati. Honestly, the people that I've met, I think the connections that I've made and the people that I've met have just been great. I've been blessed to come here, and I've been blessed.
Logan, thanks for coming out, man. You were
course.
great. Appreciate it. Logan Hinnant, everybody. All right, last but not least, Dewey Lusk, if he's still here. Hey, oh, there he is. Okay. I didn't make it too hard for you to get in there. Logan, you forgot your wallet.
And we watched a lot of football on Saturday.
Yeah.
But we didn't leave the den area, so that was kind of nice just to not do a thing.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad. Other than having to work with the equipment room, of course, how does that look right now? Make a lot of progress on that?
It looks really good. Yeah, we've made a lot of progress, and we've got everything hung up and put away, and it looks good.
What's going to be the biggest emphasis in practice this week for Bluefield College football?
Well, and we talked about this. We got together Sunday afternoon and practiced a little bit. But, Kentucky Christian has the #1 passing offense in the country, NAIA. But conversely, they're giving up a lot of points defensively. And they're 2-5, and in several of their games, they've either been way ahead and teams have fought back to win, or they've been way behind and they fought back and made it ball games. So, we have to play for 4 quarters and we have to hang in there. It's going to be a great test for our defense, and Logan was exactly right. We've got to put pressure on the quarterback so our DBs don't have to cover as long. And if we can get the pressure on the quarterback and create some turnovers, we should be in good shape.
Is that something that you tell your team, though, when you go into practice, like, guys, this could be a shootout?
Oh, yeah, it could be. And we've got to be prepared mentally both ways. And if you get way ahead, you can't rest. You got to keep going because they're very, very capable. They're a quick strike offense and can come back. And at the same time, you could be down 28-7 at the half, but you've got every opportunity to come back. Warner ended up winning their game. They scored 63 points, and they were down 21-7 at half.
Wow.
And so they scored 56 points in the second half. And Warner's won one football game.
Wow.
And so Kentucky Christian has beaten Georgetown and lost to Warner. So, it's going to be a very competitive ball game. Should be a really good ball game. But we've got to focus, concentrate, and play for 4 quarters and not make many mistakes.
Now, when you go up against a team with a pretty confident quarterback, what are, we already have to emphasize putting pressure on him. But do you ever really change your game plan at all after looking at the tape and seeing that, hey, this quarterback's pretty good?
Well, you want to make him uncomfortable. Anytime a quarterback that's talented is comfortable, he's going to be trouble. So you don't want to just line up and show cover 3 every single time and play. You've got to disguise coverages. You've got to zone blitz and drop people in angles and areas where he likes to throw the football. And, you want him to look at the coverage and it looks like cover 4, but, it's really cover 2. And so you've got to do a good job of disguising your coverages, mixing them up, and putting pressure on him to make him get rid of the ball quicker than what he would like to do.
Guys are going back on the road. You haven't been at home for a while. Is it tougher to go on these road trips with a kind of a younger team?
We're just glad that we're getting to play. And, of course, anytime you can play in Mitchell Stadium here at the house, you want to play here at the house as often as possible. But, there's something about being on the road and being together and going to play. Anytime with a young bunch, it's like a roller coaster ride, so you don't know what you're going to get from 1 minute to the next. You've got highs, you've got lows, and you've got to be able to battle and handle those adverse situations. But I don't think it's any different as far as dealing with the kids. It's one does and half the other.
Is it tough to play a Kentucky Christian team that you haven't played since you've been the head coach, going in with a little bit fewer or a little less information than you had when you're playing a team like Reinhardt or like Union?
Well, you got open library, so you have every film available. And you keep up with folks during the course of the year. You're able to look at every film they have. So there's a lot of information available to you. And but it'll be interesting once you get there, because certain teams you match up well against, certain teams you don't, and that's going to be the unknown factor until we can get there and actually play them.
How does it feel to play in an Appalachian division? Really, aside from Reinhardt, it's wide open at this point. I mean, you have Cincinnati Christian, Union, and then you guys.
Well,
I'm sure I'm missing
we
somebody.
talked about this on Sunday. We can win out, but you can't win out unless you win the next one. And we just need to keep hanging in there and keep battling and playing hard. And it's like that second half against Reinhardt the other night. We played a lot better than we did in the first half and actually outscored them 14-10. And but we need to play more consistent and just keep gaining experience.
Who's going to be the starter at the running back position?
Tavis White.
Are you guys still going to switch him out a lot with Xavier Freeman?
We'll have Tavis White available. We'll have Cameron Wright available. We'll have Caleb Gibson. We've got a slew of backs, and we always go with the hot hand.
Right. Hope that works out, Coach. The running game has been working in an important game this weekend on the road against Kentucky Christian. That wraps up another edition of the Bluefield College Coaches Show. Dewey, Lusk every week here at 7 o'clock at the Bluefield, Virginia Applebee's. And until next time, take it easy, Rams fans.